Oh my God, we're in Orlando. We're in Orlando. I'm so nervous.
Gonna throw up.
Yep,
that's me. I genuinely thought I was gonna throw up before I got there. But here's how my trip actually went. When I think of one of the ways I've been confronting shame, I always come back to this healing tour. Led by Akasha, I reconnected with my inner child, got in tune with my body, and openly explored my trauma wounds, all while learning to release the shame and guilt that came with doing so. Before getting into anything else, I had to first confront how shame and rejection throughout my life manifested itself into self-neglect and abandonment. But I always found myself just like burnt out and unhappy and drained mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially even. But I'm like, this is not okay. But how do I stop? Like, where do I draw the line and be like, okay, Titania comes first. You need to put yourself first and do what you want in you. Do something in your best interest. So, starting now, we're gonna work on boundaries. We're gonna work on doing more things for me just because I want them. I need them. And we're gonna start by going to dinner. I'm gonna go get all dolled up, put on my nice fancy dress, some nice jewelry, if I can find my jewelry, and go out, get some good food, get some guided meditation, activities, and healing circles. I was pushed to explore and share my traumas that were so deeply rooted in my being. They were influencing my beliefs, behaviors, and even my health issues.
Wow.
For example, I had to process how frequently having things taken from me as a child made me feel like I couldn't really have anything, and that fueled my inability to really connect with things and other people. But then I'd become very controlling, trying to hold on to whatever little power I felt like I had around certain things. I would get jealous if I felt like my friends were getting too close to someone else, or if someone was trying to take my clothes or my shoes. Just anything that I felt like I had control over, if it seemed like it was under threat, then I would immediately get jealous and feel a need to take it back any way I could. One of my favorite memories was using art under meditation to go back into our mind, into our subconscious, and bring out a memory, no matter how emotionally triggering it was, to just bring it out and put it onto the canvas. And I ended up sharing something so traumatic and so far in the recess of my mind that I almost thought it was a dream for a second, or a false memory.
And I didn't know I was making noise. My stepdad came into my room. I tried to pretend to be sleeping, but he realized I wasn't, and he grabbed me, and he ripped my princess sleeping dress, and then he slapped me across my face. I remember trying to cry, but I couldn't bring myself to, until he finally left my room, and I just sat there on my bed with my nose also bleeding because he hit me across my face, and there were stains on my dress.
Sharing such things made me realize that I could go deeper into myself, and although it might hurt or I might not like what I find or feel, that's how I confront my shame. And that's how I started to develop a willingness to be more vulnerable with others and with myself. I was better able to sit with myself and sit in my emotions and express them. I was also more willing to allow myself to surrender to emotional intimacy and let other people comfort me without fear of abandonment or rejection and judgment. While it's important to put in the work to better yourself by yourself, you need community. Not only do you find people to hold you accountable, you also get to find people who can offer you support and comfort. Both of these things helped me confront my belief systems around self-image, emotional expression, and my shadow self. It took that external support to help me realize and start to accept that I am more than my experiences. And regardless of what I've been through, that doesn't take away from my value as a person. Some days were definitely harder than others and involved a lot more tears, especially in coming to terms with how my lack of self-compassion was feeding my feelings of inadequacy and increasing my shame. But having a community support me during those times and moments for the first time in a long time showed me that all the pressure I was feeling to show up a certain way 24/7 was pretty self-induced and rooted in my negative belief systems. I didn't feel like my anger, jealousy, control, negative self-image, pretty much anything that society tells us is nasty and rude and disgusting emotions and feelings to have. I didn't feel like I had to try and hide those parts of myself. I was shown that it's okay to embrace them and bring them to light, because that's where our shadow is, and that's where the work begins in trying to explore what wounds lie there and how that's shaping who you are as a person and bringing you away from your authentic self, or even how they're embedded in your authentic self and you just have to learn to accept them for what they are, but not let them completely rule over those parts of light in you. A key takeaway from this trip for me that really changed the way I approach shame is that I deserve to take up space. All parts of me deserve to take up space. Whether it's the creative yapper or the less socially acceptable, angry, depressed woman, these are all parts of me and they all deserve to be seen and to be heard. I shouldn't have to feel like I need to always bottle things up out of fear of rejection or being misunderstood, because there are people out there who want to listen, who will listen. You just have to be willing to overcome your shame enough to show up. I walked into a sanctuary full of people I didn't know and left with a newfound sense of self and community.